It is the Matt Mosley Show here on the Rogue Media Network, and great to be with you. And it is March Madness upon us. And
it's the Matt Mosley March Madness Show.
That's right. And I just heard from
Ohio
a famous
State.
Wait, hold on. Let me do the intro here. We do have games going on, and Ohio State Buckeyes have taken a 57-53 lead over the TCU Horned Frogs that were, just dominant early in this one. At halftime, it was 39-24, and even at, about the 12-minute break, 13-minute break, Ohio State started to show a little something and got it to 10, and then it started, and now they have taken the lead. This thing can come at you in a hurry. And now the Frogs trailing by 4. Now, Kev, I did want you to notice, just for the show and just for our audience, I dug it up, although it's hard to totally tell. But I found my UMBC Retrievers cap, and that's a little retriever on there. And it's kind of a cool little thing, but it's one of those that it's even to the naked eye, it's hard to exactly see what's on there, but I think it says Retrievers, and in little print it says UMBC or University of Maryland,
Baltimore. Yeah, it looks a little bit like a hunting company hat.
Yeah. But it was when they took down the mighty Virginia a few years back, and I just was so taken aback by that win that I went ahead and grabbed that. We got a 2-point game. All the action Kevin is monitoring 4 games at once now.
Yep.
Obviously, this game had everybody's attention for a while because it was just the one thing TCU's done most of the day is get a ton of rebounds. And they are just killing Ohio State on the offensive boards, and they did it again as TCU will go to the line down 57-55 with about 4.5 minutes left in that. Always fun, Kev, to see that first game, and that captures everybody. And they got Raftery and Ian Eagle, their top broadcast team on that one, and who is Grant with them as well.
Typically
and Tracy Wolfson. And so that's their big crew, and they're on that. And then we, of course, got the other games started, and now Kevin's monitoring. I think he's doing a YouTube type thing. I am monitoring on my March Madness app that I had to I think I needed some space, and I'd gotten rid of it recently, but I have brought it back. And Nebraska really has not had any trouble with Troy. Troy was okay early, and Nebraska got going. And Kev, Oklahoma City, those Huskers fans, you got to hand it to them. They've completely taken over that place. It's loud. They traveled extreme. I would always recommend, and Kevin, I know at some point you wanted to maybe do some of our tournament memories. My greatest one ever was in Indianapolis, your sort of hometown.
I'm sure.
And that was for the Baylor national title. So I will never forget that, what that was like, and being there for both the semifinal and the final, and TCU now trailing 57-56. But Oklahoma City apparently this morning, Kev, not ready. The bars were not up and running and ready for that kind of turnout they got. So this game started at about the Nebraska game started at about 1:45.
Yeah.
Is that right? No. 11:45. And the Oklahoma City bars not ready at all. And with about a little under 4 minutes now, TCU up 58-57. And if you're wondering, are they just going to give me updates on the games the whole time? Yeah, we'll do a little bit of that. We got a couple other things to discuss. And then we're going to let you hear, because, Kevin, the Baylor women play at tomorrow at 1, right as our show's going on. So we'll figure out we want to handle that. But for today, we're going to let you hear at about 1:30 we'll let you hear the interview we did with Nikki Collin just 2 days ago as she prepares for tomorrow's game. Now we know it's against Nebraska. Right? Yeah. Nebraska beat whoever the other team was, and then so the Bears now play Nebraska. By the way, why am I seeing all these Wendy's commercials where you dip the fry into the
have you never done this?
The dunk? Is that what they're calling it? The official
yeah.
Dunks? The
have
fry,
you ever,
the frosty. I mean,
you've never done fries and frosty?
No, is that great or something? Is that good?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that
like
been a thing for a while?
Oh yeah, it's like the salty and the sweet and the hot and the cold. You get these contrasts together, and it's really good.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. So
okay.
This is it's all new to me. The USF and their coach obviously decided not to go to Syracuse. He stayed. Right now, Louisville has them 30-20. That's 4 minutes left in the first half in that one. And then High Point, which is kind of, hanging in there. They got off to a rough start. Wisconsin's got a lead of 22-16 with 10:48 left in the first half is how that one is.
All right, the games are on a commercial right now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I have a question then for you.
But I have by the way, that Nebraska just completely blowing out Troy, and that's 50, huh? Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were still on the women's.
No. We're back to the men's tourney. The Nebraska up 56-37 over Troy at this point, and then of course I'm watching. The cool thing about the app is you can just go from game to game. What I haven't figured out yet is if I can do
there should be a separate viewpoint where you can watch all of them at the same time, which is what I'm doing.
Yeah, but I wonder where I find that on here. Multi-game. Okay, here we go. Multi-game.
Found it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right.
So
I got a multi-game type thing now.
You ready for my question now?
What's up?
I know you had the favorite memory, of course, is Baylor winning the championship. That tournament took place all in Indiana, in the post-COVID outcome. But what is the greatest tournament upset that you have witnessed in person?
Greatest.
I asked this because I know mine for sure. I think you've heard me tell Scott Drew offline.
Oh, you were there for that one?
Yep. Well,
you tell yours. I'll keep thinking.
You keep thinking.
Been there I was there. I will say this, and then I want you to tell yours. But and then we'll keep people updated because TCU, and it's a 1-point game now with 3.5 minutes left. I was there. It wasn't an upset, but I love the that shot that Suggs hit to beat UCLA from about 40 feet at the end. And was that in overtime that he did that? That was unbelievable. That was in the semifinal game. I was there that night for that. And so that was really, really cool. I just remember thinking one of the coolest things was in a semifinal was just Baylor, the excitement of Baylor kind of putting U of H away fairly early in that game, and just the joy of like experiencing. And then in the national title game, it was more like, wait, can they come back from this? Can Gonzaga come back? Okay, got them down by 13, 15. It's like, could they come back? Like, I think I've probably seen some good upsets in person, but the ones that come to mind are mostly ones I feel like I've seen on TV. So what's the big one that you saw in person?
All right. So it was 1996. I was a sophomore in high school, and my dad got tickets to the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament that happened in the old Hoosier Dome. I think at that point it was called the RCA Dome, but it will always be the Hoosier Dome to me. And we went to the first night. It was Thursday, right? It was a Thursday, Saturday, all 6 games we got tickets to. It started with Colgate and somebody else, I think it was like a 16-8 game or whatever. So it gets to the last game, right? You go to the 2 games. It's 2 games per session. You go to the first 2 games, and then we went to dinner. We come back, and it's going to be a late start time, and it's UCLA and Princeton. My dad turned to me, school night. He goes, hey, we're going to stick around until this gets out of hand, and then we'll take off. School night, all that. And so all of a sudden, you see Princeton's just hanging around, working the shot clock, hanging around, and you can see the crowd shift. And all of a sudden, I don't know where all the orange pom-poms came from, but all of a sudden, just kind of like your hat that you purchased, all these people are purchasing Princeton stuff, and people are becoming Princeton fans that weren't Princeton fans before. And Reggie Miller was there. This is during the height of Reggie Miller days, 96, right? And Reggie Miller, being a UCLA grad, had a UCLA hat on. And they put him on the Jumbotron late in the game, and the hometown people booed Reggie Miller because they were so on the side of Princeton, who was sticking around and keeping it close. And I saw I think it was 13 seed upset 4 seed Princeton over UCLA in person. One of the kids will call that nowadays, they call that a core memory for me.
Very nice. And the famous Princeton coach was named Pete Carrill, and he had this offense that was just it was just amazing. And
game-winning shot was a backdoor cut.
It's all about cutting and back picks and all that kind of stuff. We do have a TCU player injured down on the court. It looked like he tried to take a charge. I did not see what they called that. It certainly looked like a charge, but in this era, we've gotten some of the charges out of the game, and so a lot of these are blocking fouls. And this young man who got off to a great start today in the game for TCU, one of their guards, who used to play for Iowa. I think he played for Iowa the first couple of years of his career. He plays for TCU now, and he's down on the ground. TCU clinging to a 58-57 lead there.
Yep.
So lots going on. And then let me see if I can bring us up to date real quick, Kevin, on those other scores, if you would.
Yep. Nebraska 65-40. Louisville is up 30-20 on USF, and 34-26 Wisconsin over High Point. So all those are kind of on a little hold right now. Do you want to update people on the free agent stuff that happened, or the trades from yesterday from NFL?
NFL, yes. What do we have?
The big, obviously, we start with the quarterback position. The Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, is headed to the Eagles for a 7th rounder trade. He's been able to kind of stabilize a lot of programs and organizations through some tumultuous times.
Yeah, he's a great guy to have around. At this point, he's no longer interested in being the starter. And why not? Why not just keep earning a paycheck? He's had a tremendous career. He's made a ton of money. He got at least 2 contracts, got his initial rookie contract, and then got an extension with Cincinnati, and so had a nice long run with the Bengals, and then and had his moments. You know, I wouldn't say they had a lot of playoff success, if any, but because he had Marvin, and again, they had some decent teams, just really couldn't go through in the playoffs. But I like, man, right there, he has almost look of an Irish, doesn't he? He's just got that. He looks
just
like he ought to be
just a day late for his day on St. Patty's Day.
Oh man, great player there at TCU, and then certainly with the Bengals. So yeah, they get that deal done, and then of course the Cowboys will now have to see who their backup is, because they've got Joe Milton and now Sam Howell, under contract. Sam Howell, they brought in from the Commanders. Let's remember that Will Greer was cut, although they could always try to bring him back. I think everybody enjoys having Will Greer around. He's the former West Virginia great who played for Jake Spavital, and the guy recently who Spavital told us that he believes that that's who DJ Lagway reminds him most of, is Will Greer. What else do you have? NFL free agency.
Yes. Update: TCU up 1 and at the line for an and 145 left in that game. A.J. Dillon was picked up by the Panthers. He was a free agent. I think is a 1-year, $5 million deal, I believe.
Yes.
So the former Packer and Eagle.
Yeah. I think that's a fine pick. This is sort of bargain basement time hunting. Just kind of see what's out there, see what's hanging around. One of the Cowboys players that they recently released that they traded for during the season, I also noticed within the past 24 hours or so, Kev, Logan Wilson retired. He did go ahead and formally announce his retirement. I also saw on the NFL free agency end of things, TCU now up by 2 with a minute and a half to go in this game against Ohio State, which has had a spirited comeback after a horrible first half. And Ohio State will have the ball down to with a minute 20 left. Yeah, Brandon Aubrey went on the Dumb Zone, I think is what this YouTube show is called. Not ours, but somebody. And or the Hang Zone. I think it's the Dumb Zone. And Dan McDowell and some other people I know. And they, what's the other guy's name? Anyway, Aubrey just kind of said, hey, both sides want to get it done. I think it'll get done. So I don't think the kicker, we had some kicker drama coming out of the combine. It was sort of related to some of the things that were reported, and it was more like his agents and stuff. I think when it comes to Brandon Aubrey, he's kind of like, hey, we're going to get this thing done. I think I want to be here. They want me. So we'll get this thing figured out. So that is where the Cowboys kicking situation is. Ohio State at the free throw
Royal
line.
At the line.
And what is it? Who is this guy? Is this a
That's
forward?
Royal. That's the guy that broke the scoring record. Ties it up at 61 with minute.
What do you mean scoring record? Scoring record.
Isn't he the one that has the all-time Ohio State?
That's the other guy.
Okay,
that's the other guy out. Bruce something. Bruce Thornton. Yeah, okay. Is the guy that has the all-time record because he stayed around so long.
Right.
In fact, he
TCU with a 3 and buries it.
Now we
64-61 under a minute.
We got Kevin doing play-by-play. Kevin, stop doing this because you are ahead of me by quite a bit. I'm just seeing the 3 now.
All right.
We will go.
I'll calm it down. We'll go. No instant reactions. Got it. Yeah. Straight face.
Yes, please. Robinson has been big all game for them, and that was an enormous 3, putting the Frogs up 64-61. And that game is coming down to the final seconds. Kevin's trying not to react, but I just saw it. That guy was just talking about Bruce Thornton did tie it up with a 3. And I would imagine, TCU's going to call a timeout and think this over. And we have our first possible. This could
it's
be
an 8-9, but
this could be a buzzer beater. I mean, I'm not talking about upset. I'm just talking about we could have a possible buzzer beater situation. And we got a tie ball game at 64. Now that was an awesome clutch shot. Because the one Thornton just hit for Ohio State was one of those, somebody was in his grill, back, all that kind of stuff. Yesterday, Kev, we had Dave Aranda out there. That was so cool having him over there. I've been putting up a lot. We had photos, a lot of the things that he told us. I talked about some of it yesterday. I've been putting it up on social media. I noticed, one of those things I said basically about what he said about the O-line or D-line, or what he said about the high school recruiting, having too much money over on the sideline. I just put the quote up next to a picture, and that thing did over 11 or 12,000 views, I noticed. We had some technical difficulties, and Kev, we understand. We appreciate our people. Our people were out there watching us live, and they're kind of trying to inform us, and we apologize. Stuff happens, and we're going to be, unfortunately, it just happened. And so I have people today, Kevin, asking me out there, where's the guys? Where can I find that and everything? Kevin and I are just going to tell you,
yes,
we'll be telling you kind of what occurred, and I will be at Pro Day coming up to spend more time with Dave Aranda. So again, we're just very grateful that the Bears thought of us and getting Dave over on site with us. And so we're sorry that happened, but we'll be getting you more and more of some of those great interviews. Now, what I will not do, Kevin, and do not react to this last 17 seconds, because as of here in about 5 seconds, you'll know and I won't know. So you just sit tight, and I'm watching TCU at the end of regulation right now. The Horned Frogs are trying to get something done. And they did get a shot. They got a shot off down low. See, thank you. Thank you, Frogs. You don't have to shoot a three. It's a tie ball game. And like in the NBA, they're just always like shooting threes late in clocks. And in this case, with the clock ticking down, he barely got that shot off before the shot clock. I wish I could look at the shot clock.
That's good time management.
Wow. And they didn't rush it because there were about 4 seconds left, and they could have rushed it. Look at those assistant coaches. See, they're making sure they don't run out there because they saw that UT coach the other night, Tremont Mark, hit a shot, and the Texas assistant went running out on the court. I thought Sean Miller was going to kill him. Sean Miller went nuts on that guy. I'm a little surprised he didn't fire that assistant that night. If he had gotten a technical foul, I think that assistant would have been fired on the spot.
Yep.
And they did not do it. Boy, I hate these Ohio State, the fans. They're very, very downtrodden right now. Folks, you got think about Tyus Edney back in the day. He had 4.7, I think, went the length of the floor. You can literally get all the way to the rim. Now, it kind of needs to be a straight line, but you can dribble all the way up the court. And,
no reactions.
And get this done. Thank you. I'll give the late reaction.
Yep. I will wait.
Now, one thing that they didn't do back in the day of Duke and Kentucky, they didn't guard the inbounds pass. That's a mistake. They didn't do it here. All right. Shot goes up. No. Horned Frogs hold on. Horned Frogs win. And the TCU trying to be kind after the game. I thought he was about to taunt the guy, but he actually went up and tried to say something nice. And that was not a great. It took too much time. With 4.3 seconds left and having to go the length of the court, they got the ball in, and then the guy that they got the ball into gives it back to the that
inbounder.
What's the guy's name that we were talking about? Bruce. Yeah, Bruce Thornton. Yeah. He gives the ball back to him, and then they actually guarded him fairly well, and so he had to pull up and shoot it from half court.
Even had an extra defender come in at half court to kind of help out and clog that up. So it was good.
You should be able to get a better shot than that with 4.3 seconds left. Whether it's throwing the ball up the court, something. I didn't hate the thought of what they were trying to do, but the getting it in and then giving it back to the inbounder took too much time. That took 2 seconds of the 4.3. You got to get the thing going at the rim immediately. Whoever catches it has to go. And
Wisconsin is now only up 2 on High Point with 3 minutes left in the first half. Do you want the rest of NFL free agent highlights from yesterday?
Yeah, let me real quick give the rest of the scores. Nebraska up 70-45 over Troy.
Yeah.
And you okay?
Yeah, that was a boring one. So.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was looking down. I thought you were having some kind of medical emergency. Louisville up 10 at halftime over South Florida. And then, as Kev just said, that's a 39-35 game. Oh, is it changed?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to pull that one up.
High Point on a breakaway, missed a layup, but they got the foul. 2:17 left in that. Okay. Back to the NFL. We bounce back and forth here. AJ Epinesa, defensive end from the Bills, goes to the Browns.
Wait, what is he?
It's edge rusher.
Oh,
AJ Epinesa. They've got a lot of them.
What was the
wide
deal?
variety? I am not sure, but I will look it up.
Okay. Know the name. Again, this is the time to just try to kind of shore things up. And
1 year up to $5 million.
Okay. 1 year, $5 million. I mean, most of these deals that get done now are for about, there may be a couple of fairly large names out there just of aging guys, but for the most part, there's not a lot of great ones still out there. I'll tell you one thing. I like watching these mid-majors when you can just almost immediately tell, Kevin, when a mid-major has a little more than the usual. And you can just tell High Point just has so much size compared to a lot of these mid-majors. They've got a lot of length on the wing. Now they're missing some shots at the rim that they don't need to, but if they get beat, it's because Wisconsin is just a more cohesive, battle-tested team.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be based on athleticism from what I'm watching right now. They've got some length, and they can go. The athletes that I'm watching can go toe-to-toe with Wisconsin. So we'll see here. What do you got? Yep. Wisconsin up by 3 still, or what?
Yep. 120 left in the first half. I think as far as free agents you were talking about, I think this is actually a really deep running back class as far as free agents. You still got Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler, Antonio Gibson, Dare Agabuale, right? Raheem Mostert, who is up there, Kareem Hunt, who's up there, but Miles Sanders as well, all still available at the running back market. But my Colts signed a couple of people. Did you see this? They got Nick Westbrook-Akine, who was with the Dolphins, didn't do much in that receiving room last year, but has kind of been a Colts killer when he was with the Titans. There was that one season a couple seasons ago where basically I think he caught 9 touchdowns on 37 total catches.
All right. That's fun. That's interesting.
And then Lou Anarumo gets Cam Taylor-Britt back from his days with the Bengals, who's still a young player, had some off-the-field kind of stuff go on, but he's still only 26 and fairly well accomplished for his time. So,
all right. And I'm like the Vikings. By the way, Kev bring back Wentz, adding to the quarterback depth. So they got Kyler now. They got J.J. McCarthy, and they got Wentz, who actually played fairly well for them in backup duty last year. The Cade Cunningham story sure was that was a bad one to hear. Pistons have had an incredible year. He was diagnosed with a collapsed lung, and does not sound like something he'll be back from anytime soon. And it even kind of, the discussion over first team, like all NBA and those kinds of things, you have to play a certain amount of games. And I'm afraid this could keep him from that. That's a real bummer because this guy had an unbelievable season. And he's one of those that, yes, he was good on a bad team right away. He was the first pick overall. He was supposed to be great. But, man, they just hung in there with him. And he had his moments up and down, and he's become a tremendous player. A little bit like Halliburton, for your Pacers, in the sense that Halliburton was a great college player, but then got hurt and didn't get to play that 1 year in college much of the season. And I don't think we truly kind of had as much you may have, but most people didn't have that much of an appreciation for Halliburton. The trade happens, and it just, at some point you're like, oh my gosh, like this guy's an actual superstar. And so he came at it differently than Cade. Cade was a superstar who he just kind of was like, I think he's going to be okay. We got to wait on him. And then he hit. And part of it was the team got better around him. He was always good for the Pistons, but this year he became an all-star and an all-pro, and so that's really bumped. This college basketball news, and then, Kevin, we'll finish the show today with we're going to hear from We're going to hear from Nikki. It was on the mind because I just got a text from somebody. But we could hear from her too, but I don't know. It always gets me in trouble. Maybe not now. Maybe so. The person who hated her is gone. But Nikki Collin was on with us a couple of days ago, and they play tomorrow at 1:30. Excuse me, at 1, right as our show's starting. So we'll be loose, a little bit like today. We'll have some fun. We'll have some laughs. I do want to say, Kev, want to wish you a happy birthday.
Hey, thank you.
Is this 44, 45? Are you sharing?
This is 45.
All right. That's a good one. That's a good milestone.
Uh-huh.
You're truly in your mid-40s. This is about as mid-40 as you'll ever be.
Yep. And today I was the middle of my I did my first cardio workout at my new place. That was a good happy birthday morning, let me tell you. Woo! Kicked my butt.
Good for you, getting that in there. I don't do this anymore. But when I turned about, I don't know, somewhere in my 30s, I started running a mile on every birthday just to see what I could do.
Okay.
And back then I was running some, so it wasn't as weird as it sounds.
It wasn't only on your birthday.
Yeah, I was running I don't know, somewhere around 2 to 3 miles a day.
Yeah.
And I would run a mile just to see how fast I could push it on my birthday. And up into my 40s, still putting a pretty strong mile down. But at some point, just walking seemed like a better choice. When I quit basketball, I quit running. I don't know if I'll ever go back to running. Most runners don't. They always seem to have knee stuff later in life, and so I really feel like maybe giving up my running career has been a smart choice. All right, Kentucky men's basketball coach Mark Pope had a lot of things to say about Michigan star Yaxel Lindeborg's comments that he received a multi-million-dollar offer to play for the Wildcats. I guess Lindeborg, did you see this, Kevin?
Mm-mm.
I think Lindeborg said that he chose Michigan even though Kentucky offered him way more money. He said he had said that Kentucky offered him $7 million to $9 million to transfer from UAB in 2025.
Did it say why he chose Michigan other than?
No, but it was just way less money. I think he signed for, I don't know. I think think he basically signed for about $6 or $7 million less, is what he's suggesting.
So Pope didn't want to say that he signed somewhere else because the coaching was better, right?
Pope said, "I'm trying not to make a commentary on it. This is all part of the distraction that my team is not a part of. We will try and embrace the circus nature of this and count on some responsible media member somewhere to actually kind of dig in and find out, or just be responsible reporting." Pope on Thursday decried the accuracy standards of modern media, calling it, quote, "an interesting time in the world." Lindeborg said that he told the AP that Kentucky had started the number with $7 million to $9 million. I mean, wow. And then Pope talked around the alleged Lindeborg offer. He was direct in speaking about how NIL has impacted the expectations of leading one of college basketball's most storied programs. He said, in terms of the NIL situation, it might add some pressure to it. Pope said, I think it definitely adds distraction. He was desperately said he wanted to avoid making headlines ahead of Friday's game against Santa Clara. He said, the pressure is ever present and we want it. That's why we come to Kentucky, for it to matter. We love that part. All right. Doesn't sound like he loves it that much. So he didn't say Lindeborg was lying. He just sort of pushed back. He just hates the distraction of it. He did kind of indicate that maybe that number wasn't right without explicitly saying Lindeborg wasn't right. But golly, I mean, I don't know what Lindeborg exactly got at Michigan, but I'd have a hard time turning down $7 to $9 million from anywhere.
Right.
And DeBonsa got,
especially to play a game.
DeBonsa got $7 million at BYU. And they got way more of their money's worth than what Kansas has gotten for Peterson. Peterson, yep. By the way, there's some story out there where Peterson's now talking about having had to go to the hospital. I think they were running some sprints or running the stand. Whatever happened, Peterson had to go to the hospital. It's like, finally, it took forever. But Peterson's reps, and they finally were like, hey, dude, somebody ought to take up for Darren. Or Darren, take up for yourself. And so now we're swinging back the other way, and poor Darren is a victim who got, sick because he worked so hard in some sprints in the off season and had to go to the dang hospital. And I guess he never recovered from that. All right. I think the whole thing is a mess. And unfortunately, Kansas, by the way, is seated way too high based on the way they play. I think they were a 4 seed. I would say that's a bad seeding. I think you and I agreed on that, Kevin. And then yep. I think we probably thought that maybe that St. John's was underseeded at 5 right. after winning the Big East tournament. Again, yep. People say, what was St. John's best non-conference win? Kev, would you like to guess what that was? St. John's. Now, if you're listening to the Mosley Show, which I know you are, I did provide this answer yesterday.
St. John's greatest non-conference win.
Yeah, this year. Let's just say it's very close to home.
Oh, tell me it's TCU.
The Baylor Bears.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then wait. Yeah, they didn't. That's not necessarily a notch in the.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what people are saying. They're like, well, maybe that's why they're a 5 seed. Of course, okay. Miami University, Miami of Ohio, they're so hell bent on not being Miami of Ohio.
Miami University, but
I know.
Then people think it's in Miami.
I know. When you say Miami, you think of Miami of Florida.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the
Miami? University of Miami.
I know. And they call it the U.
Uh-huh.
I think we should just call that the U, and then we can call this other Miami. But if you just say Miami, everybody thinks of the U.
Yeah.
You almost have to say Miami of Ohio because
Yes.
Miami University doesn't really mean anything to anybody.
No.
They need to kind of get over that. That scene in Dayton last night.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
They came out strong, didn't they?
How cool is that? I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I know people thought that was a personal affront, them having to play in the deal. People that say that, by the way, there was a play-in team just a few years ago. I forget who was it. There was a play-in team that either made the Elite Eight or Final Four. I mean, like they made it a long way. So there is something to getting that game in and then staying in a run versus the team like BYU that's been resting for a good while and is used to playing on glass courts. The Big 12 doesn't know how to play on courts that have grip. They've been on these LED courts. Now, who did you say, Kev, who is your biggest pick to click from the Big 12? And I'll say you can't say Arizona because I think Arizona is a very easy go all the way pick. But after Arizona, who would you say from the Big 12?
My sneaky pick all year has been TCU. That I thought that they were way better.
They're not that good. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I like.
Obviously, they're going to have to go up against the mighty Duke now, presumably. That game does start in just a few minutes here, but against Siena. But
Duke versus Siena. Okay.
Yeah. I maybe say BYU. But that's because I kind of have a little bit of a DeBonsa fever right now with the Pacers and everything. And you were talking about Peterson and DeBonsa earlier. I just keep hearing Kevin Connors on our show saying all year, if we've been having the conversation of DeBonsa versus Peterson, we've been having the wrong conversation. It's DeBonsa and somebody else, whether that's Acuff or whoever. It's somebody different. It's not Peterson.
Yeah. Connors was great the other day, wasn't he? Isn't he a nice guy? I noticed somebody else from Ithaca. He played basketball for Ithaca. You know who else went to Ithaca College?
Who's that?
Or Ithaca University, whatever it is.
You got to be careful because it might be an entirely different school.
Oh, I think it's the same. John Rothstein from CBS.
Okay.
He does all his funny stuff on Twitter and all. He's an Ithaca guy. Look at Brendan Haywood just wearing like a pullover. All these guys are in ties and coats and everything, and he's just got a zip up.
Just Jamal Mashburn.
That's Jamal. Sorry. I was thinking about Brendan, the old UNC guy. What is Jamal doing? I mean, that's not
he was walking around on the street and they just decided to pull him in and say, hey, why don't you do this?
It's just such a laid back, nothing thing to wear on there. That's so bad.
That Rose on the other side, Jalen Rose with the glasses.
Looks nice. Yeah. Any other games we need to report? That Louisville game still at halftime.
Yeah.
What was that Wisconsin score?
I didn't see this. South Florida and Louisville just started back up. 10-point deficit there. Let's see.
Okay, 41-39 on that on that other one, and then 41-39. Ooh, that's going to be fun to watch the second half of that game. Mm-hmm. And as you said, coming up here in a few minutes, Duke and Siena. What do you think of when you hear Siena?
I think of the actress Sienna Miller. I don't know why.
Is that her name?
I think so.
I think of the crayon. Wasn't there something called like burnt sienna?
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was a crayon burnt sienna.
What was the shade of that crayon?
Brown.
That's why it was burnt, huh?
Yeah. It was a burnt thing. Okay, I was just making sure that we don't have any other breaking news. Oh, I did want to share that Aiden Holloway, Nate Oates was talking about him. He has not been at practice, and so
you want to hear it from Oates'
Oh
mouth?
yeah. This is the head basketball coach for Alabama Crimson Tide.
The team's just preparing to play with who's at practice, and he's obviously not there. So we'll prepare to play without him and address that matter if it comes up.
All right, that is, and he's a good player, and they're going to miss him because he's a good scorer.
Just not great at hiding his weed.
He was always over 2 pounds. It's
hard to hide that much.
Holloway return for Alabama during the NCAA tournament. Who tipped them off? Like, what were they digging around like an Alabama player's house or apartment or whatever? What were they? Who tipped? I mean, that's bad. I don't know.
It's 2 pounds.
But I mean, did they have an informant? I know, but again, it may be a lot, but as long as he's not selling it and he's just sitting there smoking it, I don't condone it in my own home, but I don't think we should lock him away forever because he had 2 pounds of, it's not set like, the stuff people get caught like in their vans going across, state borders is way more than 2 pounds. We're talking, that's usually about 70 pounds or something. Nate Oates said because they asked if, could he return for Alabama during the tournament? For right now, the team is just preparing to play with who's at practice, and he's obviously not there. I think he should be able to return in the tournament. I would do a game suspension per pound of marijuana. So if you had 1 pound of marijuana, you miss 1 game. 2 pounds, you have to miss the first 2 rounds. But I think he should be back for the Sweet 16. So
now I need to look at what the actual legal penalty is, because I think the legal penalty is pretty steep for that. I'm just saying,
who in the world is he bothering? Why are we doing drug bust on 2 pounds of marijuana?
Because he could play better on that.
Well, how much is too?
We don't know if he was smoking it.
We don't know if he was smoking it before games or whatever. We can't just assume that. What is this? 32 ounces. Of course, now that I'm looking this up, I'm going to start getting a bunch of stuff about pot, right? And marijuana. Gosh,
it depends on what browser you use, I guess.
I know, but I just use whatever browser's up here. Burnt Sienna and Duke about to start in 9 minutes. Nebraska. That's the wait. Let's real quick, Kev. Let's do our Schmaltz's trivia Thursday question.
Okay.
Real quick.
All right. Sounds good. Let's go.
Okay. Nebraska defeated Troy. Huge amount of fans showed up in Oklahoma City for this. Great crowd. All right. Now you can use our YouTube feed. Golly, I know people are like, did they ever take a break? Well, we're just doing a little something different. This is the special birthday show for Kevin, who's your Hall. Here's the thing though, we're going to do some of our ads here in a minute, and then we're going to hear from Nikki Collin. But on Trivia Thursday, here is the trivia question. How many wins does the Nebraska men's basketball team have all time in the NCAA basketball tournament? And I know you can look it up. And if you want to look it up to win that way, fine. But you can tweet at me at Matt Mosley, MattMosley, or you can use the YouTube. And if you're on Twitter following us, go make sure you subscribe to YouTube, because we're about to race over the 5,000 mark, and it's next thing you know, it's road to 20,000. We're really rolling. But please put the answer to it. How many all-time wins do the Nebraska Cornhuskers have in the NCAA basketball tournament? Kevin, did you know this answer before you looked it up?
No.
Did you know the answer? You did not.
I did not.
This is a very interesting piece of trivia. Thank you, Schmaltzes. And Kev, we also should tell people, by the way, it's tomorrow, isn't it? Friday and Saturday and through Sunday, that big card collector deal over at Texas Sports Hall of Fame. That's pretty awesome. Greg Hawthorne's going to be over there. Lake Seastrunk, Mel Renfro. There it is. Kevin, can you read a little bit of that? Just because as heard on the Morris Show in the Mosley.
Yes, Friday is Alvin Robertson and Greg Hawthorne. And then Saturday is Seastrunk, Mel Renfro, and what was that?
Friday's Alvin Robertson.
Beasley Reese.
Yeah. Beasley Reese he was one of the first. I mean, he was big time. One of the first African American like NFL broadcasters. Was an analyst, so kind of a breakthrough there. Was a great player, but also became known, I believe, on NBC as a big time analyst, and lives in Central Texas. So that'll be fun. And then Hawthorne went to Baylor. So did Lake. And so that's a good lineup. And Brett does a good job. And then who are our buddies locally that have all the card shop and all? Bankston. I mean, that's a good group, man. Because there's one guy named Brett and there's another guy named Brent. And I just don't want to confuse the two, but they're both way into all of this world. All right. And the Texas Sports Hall of Fame collector's show. The timing on these things looks like Lake on Saturday is going to be up there at about 10 a.m. And then Friday, a lot of the folks are going to be coming by. First, Greg Hawthorne will be up there at 1 p.m., followed by Alvin Robertson at 3. Alvin Robertson was an unbelievable player. And what I'm trying to remember is there was an Alvin Franklin played for U of H. He played for Houston and was a great player himself. Alvin Robertson, which Rob did he play at Arkansas? Alvin Robertson, where did you play college basketball, sir? And I'm not going to find this in my email. I was literally searching my email for this. Happy birthday, Kevin. Okay, here we go. University of Arkansas. I had it along with Crowder College. I don't know. He spent a little time at Crowder College, but I had that one. Listen to who his teammates were over the years. Who did Alvin Robertson play with? Oh, I don't know. Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, Joe Klein, Sam Perkins, John Koncak. That's all pretty incredible. Now, he might have played with Joe when Joe Klein actually was at Arkansas. Okay, so Alvin might have played with him back then. That was Alvin played for Eddie Sutton, and then, of course, those guys that came after Eddie, Nolan Richardson came after Eddie, and all Lee Mayberry and the big old Oliver Miller and Todd Day and Ron Hury and Corey Beck, all those guys played for. So anyway, Kev, you know how you think about Indianapolis or Hoosier sports in the 90s or kind of your heyday. That's how the SWC is for me. Like all that era, that's when the young Mosley was moving through the 80s. And then I graduated from high school in the 90s, but I was moving through the 80s in formative sports stage. And that was when the old SWC.
So for me, it would be when the Big Ten was just 10 teams before Penn State joined.
What year would that have been that they joined?
Probably it was in the mid 90s, I would imagine.
See, the beginning of the end for the SWC was the departure of Arkansas to the SEC, which happened in about 90 or 91. And everybody, I mean, they were awesome. They were a great fit. It was a good regional type deal. But once they went to SEC, it just, people started kind of thinking about leaving and this and that. And then we had to have the old merger with the Big Eight.
Arkansas probably still regrets that decision to this day, don't they?
Maybe some of the old timers, people love being a part of the SEC so much because in their minds, if you're from the South and you're in the SEC, it sort of means everything to you. So the young people, and I include you in that, Kevin, like 45 and under, just don't have any memory of Arkansas in the SWC, so it doesn't mean anything to them. But I would say 50 and over, they have a little different feeling about all that, and they probably have been sick over the years of just getting their heads beat in football. I mean, back in the SWC, you had the great Lou Holtz that run from he wasn't there that long, but when he was there from like 77 to 83 or 76 or 83, they were awesome. And then he shows up at Notre Dame, and he was really good there. But then Arkansas had Broyles forever, going all the way back to the 60s, 50s and 60s. You had Frank Broyles, and then that leads up to Lou Holtz, and then you get into Ken Hatfield, and then of course they just went on this. They had bad coaches. Other than Bielema had some decent times, and then Houston Nutt was actually sort of okay in there somewhere. And Kenny Hatfield actually had a pretty decent run. Kev, that was good. Tell you what we'll do. Let's take care of our unbelievable sponsors. And then what we'll do is we're going to let you hear from the Baylor women's basketball coaches. They get ready to play tomorrow. The Bears go up against Nebraska. That game is at 1:00 in Durham, North Carolina. In fact, Zach Smith was right there earlier today. I saw him at Cameron Indoor Stadium on the campus of Duke University. There they are. The Bears get going at 1 tomorrow. Nikki Collin joins us next.
As part of Central National Bank's partnership with Baylor women's basketball, we asked Coach Collin to take a shot at improving the efficiency of our drive-thru.
The lane is open! Drive the lane! Attack the lane! Go! 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 Go!
We have a few kinks to work out.
Is this what you had in mind when you invited her?
No. I think you should say something to her.
Me?
Let's make Craig do it.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna take this canister and you're gonna shoot it up.
Be all right. Be all right. Just be confident. Hey, Coach. Can I have a word with you?
Craig, not right now. I'm with a customer.
Okay.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
The reason that their service is outstanding because the people they have working, behind the desk and the folks working out in the garage, taking care of business. And they give you a date, they give you a time, and they're spot on. And they're professional, they take care of it, and they answer all your questions, and they're fun to work with.
Like Alan Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Alan Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
This is the Mosley Show, and Nikki Collin back on with us. And Coach, miss talking to you. I did get a good visit with Tony late in the season, checking in with him, and then but it's been a little bit, and now the excitement of March is truly here. You know where you're going to be. Congratulations on that. Bears are a 6 seed. Do you feel like it was a nice reset after the early exit from the Big 12? It's like weird. It wasn't early exit, but when you're like a double bye, you know, it's like it's not that early. It's a strange thing, but I guess the silver lining in that always is maybe a little bit more rest. Now you've had what going on before you'll play. You're going on like 2 weeks of rest. How do you kind of feeling about things as you've been able to maybe hit the reset button a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's been good for us. I think that, and certainly we didn't want to go out in the quarters. And you're right. I think having the double bye, and not playing until Friday, there's advantage, disadvantage. But, I think for us, in particular, Talia, I think this time off has been good. I think the wear and tear, for her, I see a different burst in her, as we've been able to get in, I think we've had 4 off days in the last 8 days. So, we've certainly practiced and we've practiced hard. But when you don't have an opponent that you're preparing for, you're kind of leaning into the fundamentals and, pace and execution, whether it's half court, full court, or your defense. And so, but I think for a lot of our players, I think it was good for them to have some time off their knees and ankles and, all the things that begin to hurt as the season goes along. So just kind of excited. I mean, I think the toughest part, and this happened, to us 2 years ago, we had a play-in game when we had Vanderbilt, Columbia, and kind of had this same pathway. It's frustrating as a coach that it's selection show and you're about to get your matchup and then you still don't have your matchup because now we're still in the, if the committee thinks Richmond and Nebraska are both 11 seeds and then they're obviously very equal, then, you can't really pick I mean, maybe ESPN Predictor has Nebraska 72%, but I don't think that really means anything. I think both teams are really, really good. And there's not many similarities other than both teams can put up points and have good shooters. How they play, how they defend, night and day, so it makes it very hard when you're trying to look for commonalities that, hey, no matter who we play, we're going to work on blank. There's a big difference between lots of sets and high ball screen with a, high efficiency, high volume point guard with Nebraska versus a high efficiency power forward in motion. It's like you're talking about two very, very different offenses to prepare for. So, and defensively, Nebraska's more aggressive, Richmond's more containment, but both play man. So can't really lock in and prepare the same way you would want to, but it is what it is. And I think they will have one day prep for us as well. And so we should be ahead from that perspective because neither one of those teams is not thinking they need to win the game in front of them and really focused on Baylor.
How nice is it though to get away from the grind of Big 12 where everybody knows each other and everybody in a sense you get to there's that freedom that comes. It's almost like going back to some non-conference and I mean that has to be a little bit relief, doesn't it, just to get out of conference and then it's and also I would think your Big Ten, your history of Big Ten, so something, and maybe I'm just making too much up here, but something tells me that your DNA of knowing that conference and all, I would like to think that helps a little bit. Just
I think for me, it's really just that I'm constantly a student of the game. I'm watching everybody. Ironically, Aaron Rousseau at Richmond, I spent a lot of time around him in the summer. My daughter ended up, choosing UCF for lacrosse, but Richmond, she went to camp at Richmond and, it was an early favorite by me for her. And so, I just, I've spent some time talking to him. I know he's a guy that just is really good at what he does. And so I watch their motion, having spent 2 years at FGCU and running motion there. Seeing what he does in a world that's very different from, what most teams do. Amy Williams actually coached Tari, who was on my staff until this past year. And, we recruited Britt Prince, who's their leading scorer, and got to know her mom, who was her high school coach and her club coach well. So, have really followed them because of her. But I just watch, I don't have much of a life outside basketball. So if I'm not coaching it or scouting it, I'm just watching. So between the Big Ten Network and Big Ten Plus, there's not many teams that could have popped up on the selection show. Mm-hmm. And when I get interviewed, post selection show, I'm not going to know who their coach is, what they run, what they like, it just, I may not know what I know 48 hours later after, really diving into the film, but I have a pretty good feel for the majority of teams in the NCAA tournament just because I'm kind of obsessed with the game.
Yeah. And it's, you brought up Talia. She's had such an incredible season for you. It'll be great. Maybe she's gotten some rest, got it under. I don't know. I think I was reading that Ramadan, she's having to kind of manage some of that. I've seen players in the past, depending on when a game starts, obviously they're a little bit depleted when it comes to certain things, nutrients and all that kind of thing. But I'm just kind of curious because I would think it's a physical reset for her and then just sort of a mental reset because you have obviously had to lean on her from a scoring standpoint all season. When you see a player's, and you've seen it from a couple players this season, their shooting get in a bad way. I think one of those games, she was 5 for 21. She got in a bit of a rut. How do you get her out of that? And is it, hey, let's get you some easier shots. Let's get you something maybe going at the rim. You've had some guards in the past that would go, Jada was not sitting out there shooting a bunch of threes. She was
right.
Obviously trying to get to the rim and she had some funky stuff, but it worked so well that you guys went to a Sweet 16 and really had a good chance to go to the Elite Eight. What are you trying to get for Talia to maybe make life a little bit easier on her?
Yeah, I think as the season has worn on, I don't think she has gotten herself to the rim. I think early in the year, when she didn't shoot the ball efficiently, she still got 20 because she got downhill and drew fouls. I think as the season went along, two things have happened, and it's that this is not all on her. One, I think it's the wear and tear. She's probably leaned into the pull up more, and certainly can get cooking in her pull up game. But I think the other thing that's happened, quite frankly, is because we haven't shot the ball as well from other positions. She's gone from having creases to having walls. And so TCU built walls, Colorado built walls. So if she's not getting it early in transition, and I think that's where the rest helps, when she's getting the ball in transition, you can't build walls yet, but if we're not getting stops, and we're facing set defenses and we're playing in the half court, people were showing a lot of help, off of us really from the 3-4-5 anytime they were on the perimeter. I think Ting and Jana, there's gaps there. But analytically, teams are going to take the approach of who am I going to give shots to? And so I think it became tougher for her to get all the way to the rim. And so there were probably opportunities when it was there and she missed it just because the majority of the time it wasn't there. But I think that's been a lot of it, and so I've had to work to get her in floppies and other situations where I can get her off screens. As the season went along, they've top blocked her in pin downs. They've, obviously, she's at the top of every scouting report. And so no matter who we play, they're not necessarily going to change. This is the first year, we've seen boxing one. Like we've seen a lot of stuff, and we've managed to figure out most of it on the fly, but we've had to be creative in different games with, because we haven't shot the ball as well as a lot of our players are capable of. Bella Fauntleroy is a good shooter. Her numbers do not, indicate that this year, and therefore that's made it tougher, I think. But we've got to get in transition. We got to get stops, and we've got to get her on the move.
Do you kind of use this time also to remind your team that, hey, we had like a really good long run this season and we were in the mix for playing for the conference title? When it doesn't end like you want, to almost put that, that philosophical hat on and kind of get their spirits back up and remind them, hey, we're a pretty good team. I
don't think we've ever lost confidence. I think, that doesn't mean we haven't had players go through, slumps where they've lost some confidence in their own shot. I don't think we've lost confidence as a team. I look at that Colorado game and the challenge was, if Talia goes 8 for 21 instead of 5 for 21, and I don't put it on Talia because if she goes 5 for 21, but Bella goes 4 for 9 instead of 1 for 9, if we shoot 50% from the foul line, which we've been a phenomenal free throw shooting team all year long, that just hasn't, we had a few early hiccups, but we've been a very good free throw shooting team all year long. There's so many things, that, put you in position to be playing in the semis in that game. And, and so I just, I think this team knows. I think this team, when they saw Duke up on the bracket, they were we remember what that game felt like. But we've got to have that kind of energy to win the NCAA tournament. It's all about the energy that you bring, yes, you have to out execute people, but when we went on the road and went to the Sweet 16 and won in Blacksburg, we just played with a ton of energy, a ton of confidence, but a ton of energy. And we had lost in the quarters that year to Iowa State as well in a game that we led with a minute and a half to go, you know? And so it's all about, you know, being in that moment. And I think the thing about this team is, you know, we've got a lot of people on our roster that have not played in the NCAA tournament, you know? And so, you know, it's like getting people to understand that it's a different level. There's a different, I think everyone that's here wanted that, you know, but I also believe there's a different sense of, you know, like we've got to, and it's hard because you think on Sunday you're going to have a team to prepare for, and automatically we're going to dive in yesterday, and all of a sudden we're still in limbo. Who are we playing? And, you know, so it's like, okay, let's go over 2 actions from each team, and let's, you know, focus on, okay, are they going to be in drop coverage against our ball screens? Are they going to hard hedge our ball screens? Okay, we're going to work on both, you know, because, you know, we're going to be prepared one way or the other. But you don't get to lean into, hey, we have to take away 44, or we have to, because we're not going to guess, you know? And so, you know, I could guess it based on watching who I think is going to win. But doesn't always play out that way. That's, to me, if both teams play well and play to the best of their ability, what I've seen, I think I know who will win. But I'm not sharing that, you know? And regardless of who wins, I'm probably going to say that's the team I thought was going to win, right? So, you know, but I do think that's the challenge right now. It's just we got to be ready no matter who it is. You know, we've got to be able to like get to Thursday and say, in a one-day prep, we've done what we needed to do leading up to that, to be ahead of whomever we're playing, you know, who now truly has a one-day prep for us.
Is it kind of nice, the fact that y'all are familiar with Duke? You beat Duke. I know they've had some ebbs and flows to their season. They kind of, you know, went down and then they've come rolling back. I would think that's kind of again, the other way to think of that is, well, they owe you one. But again, at least you're familiar with them. And again, that was a big moment, very, very, you know, early in the season. And by the way, do the players get excited about going to somewhere historical like we would, like, you know, a place that's been there since 1940, Cameron Indoor Stadium? Like, does that do anything for these players that are 21 years old, or is that just
a
people
few
like
of them?
us?
I will say,
Okay.
I heard a little bit of, it'll be cool to play at Cameron. If you ask half our team what the name of Duke's Arena is, they wouldn't know. I mean, so it's a balance, you know. There are those that are more basketball nuts, and there are those that play basketball, and that doesn't mean that's not indicative of how good a player they are. Just, you know, some people are built different that way. But I think they'll be excited when we get there. And is there is the familiarity piece. I mean, this is what I would say about Duke now and Duke then. The Duke that we played, I believe, was really confident because they played in the Elite Eight the year before. They were a basket away from the Final Four and a South Carolina upset in the Elite Eight. You know, I mean, it was that close. And so that team in the offseason had no belief that they weren't that team. You know what I mean? And so I think facing them in the first game of the season when they're the 7th ranked team in the country, I think that's who they are now. Like, I think they were the same. I think Duke went through a stretch where they lost to us, they lost to West Virginia, they lost to UCF, where I'm sure there was some doubting and whatever, and they had to get their mojo back. But I don't think we beat a wounded team, you know? And so that's one of the things that I think. We were the first team that beat them, you know, no different than we were the first team that beat Iowa State. We weren't the team that beat them after Addie Brown went out and they were limping, you know, through the month of January, you know? And so to me, like, we know they'll be motivated. We know they're going to be different at home. But to me, I just refuse to really spend much time talking about it because I have so much respect for Richmond and Nebraska, and we don't get to face Duke if we don't take care of business on Friday. And I think that I firmly believe that we're a team that can play with anybody. I also think we're not a team that can show up and win, and so we have to play good basketball to beat Richmond or Nebraska. And so that's going to be my focus. I won't even look at Duke film until Friday, at 4:30, hopefully, after the press conference and a win. That's when I'll lean back into Duke. And certainly I've watched them and I know all their players and, I have, but, are they running the same plays? I don't know. I haven't watched them closely like that. But I know they're still hedging ball screens and I know a lot about Duke. So I'm going to be really focused on either Nebraska or Richmond.
Do you have any thoughts on that court that y'all played on? That they obviously had to change courts, and I think I haven't heard anything from you on this, but I have heard thoughts that there were women complaining about migraines and slippage, and it wasn't just a shock once the men got there, and y'all didn't do anything about the court. And then one guy, a few people slip and a guy gets an injury, and next thing you know, they got the hardwoods out there. Did the way that all went down, did that bother you?
So I'll give you two sides of that. One, I leaned into the innovation. So I was not a skeptic. We had practiced on the floor when we were down in Orlando for the WBCA event in November when we played Iowa and Davidson. We went over and we practiced on it before I knew that it was even conversationally something the Big 12 was talking about. So when they first asked me about it, I was really excited. I thought the innovation, I had seen it with the World Championship or the World Cup or whatever. And, like NBA teams practice on it when they're in Orlando. Like nobody manages risk and investment more than NBA teams, so if NBA teams are playing and practicing on it, it must be safe. So I was a big fan of the idea. I thought it could separate us. I didn't love the Louis Vuitton court the year before, but some people loved it. And I think it's always good when people are talking. So, I thought it was, worth being excited about. I'll tell you that I saw slippage. Jana slipped really right in front of me. You could see if you drop water on it, you could clearly see where it needed to be mopped up and it would stay there for a minute. But, we definitely saw the slipping, which did concern all the women's coaches. I also will tell you that because we weren't there very long, I didn't hear all the, we didn't go in until the day before. And then, we obviously left the morning. We had the late game. So I didn't hear all the banter about it. Our biggest concern from the women's coaches side at the beginning was, why are you doing all this cool stuff during the men's tournament that you didn't do during the women's tournament? That was our biggest concern at the beginning. When you start talking about, what were people saying? It's like, if I were to tell you what I was disappointed with, and I'm not sure the Big 12 wants me to share all my thoughts, but, I thought when you have a chance to do, because when we practiced on it, I was like a little kid in a candy store with the iPad in my hand, drawing stuff on the court. Like you can do anything. Like It is amazing technology and you can do anything. And we just have a grayscale court. Like, I just thought it was very, very boring. I thought this idea that we can do anything with this, like we could change this court out every game. We could, I don't know. Like, I just thought the lack of creativity within what was that technology was capable of. That's what I was most disappointed in, and then to see all the stuff they were adding when they got to the men's tournament in the timeouts, that was more like, well, why weren't they doing that during the women's tournament, And so that was a bigger disappointment for me at first. But certainly this is what I will tell you about me. First and foremost, safety is the most important thing. And if the women's coaches were concerned about the safety and they didn't listen, that'll obviously be a big topic of conversation. I never felt like it was unsafe. I did see some slipping. Maybe if we'd have played on it 3 days, I would have felt differently at the end of the weekend. But if our women's coaches were complaining about that, then it's going to be a big topic of conversation at our yearly meetings. But I'm never going to be mad at the league for leaning in on player safety. So it was the right thing to do. You know, did Christian Anderson, was it the floor? Would he have slipped? I mean, let's not pretend that people don't slip on hardwood.
Mm-hmm.
They slip on hardwood too. You know, but you know, do adjustments need to be made in the court, you know, for consistency? Maybe so. But I thought the innovation, the idea, I loved it. I'll lean into like Brett Yormark and what he's trying to do with the Big 12 and making our league different. And I'm on board with all of that. So, you know, but never at the expense of player safety.
All right. I appreciate it. I love how candid you are, and I knew you'd have a really good answer on that. And by the way, I thought last thing I had for you, Markela's coming on, and I would say a lot of times, you know, cynics like me can focus on negatives.
Yeah, you can.
And yet I got to say that Markela, I mean, you knew it was coming, but you know, and I think was that last game y'all played where
TCU.
you kind of had
I think
the TCU
you
game
saw it in
where
TCU. Like I actually went to her. Like, I mean, we wanted to take advantage of the Miles matchup and hadn't really been able to. And I thought Markela did a good job when we started playing to her, of putting Olivia in action and, you know, getting to the front of the rim. Her pull-up game's elite. You know, when she gets to where she's, you know, making 30% of her threes, like she's going to be pretty unguardable. And she's not there yet. And, you know, if you watch her shoot threes in practice, you would say that kid can really shoot the three, but there's, you know, like that has to translate. And right now, part of her game that's translating is her ability to get, you know, to her spots, get to the elbows, get to the short corners, hit her pull up, pretty creative with the ball. And, you know, Markela's superpower is like, she has a confidence that very few players, you know, have, like just an innate sense of, I can do this, you know, like she sometimes functions in a different spirit. I always tell this story. So she'd been on campus for, I don't know, a couple days last summer. And I look out my window and she's down in the gym and she's got her big, you know, Apple headphones on and she's dribbling the ball at the top of the key and she's crossover between the legs, you know, all this nonsense, which, you know, I used to do the same thing when I was young. Like it's just you in the gym and, you know, you can see her imagining the scenario and she's waving off a ball screen, you know, and then going one-on-one to her pull-up. And this is all happening and you can just see her in her own zone down there. And I remember calling a staff member in and I said, how many times since I've been at Baylor did I have a kid wave off a ball screen, you know, at the top of the key? Like it was just, but I love how much she loves to be in the gym, you know, and I see so much of myself, like how many times I imagine hitting the state championship shot, like sitting, you know, in my driveway. And like she's still got that kind of purity and love for the game. So I would definitely expect big things ahead.
That's exciting. Was there one particular girl who went after Griner when Brittany stopped by and that had to be kind of cool? And I saw
I'll tell you what, I know when Bella hit her early and she missed her, quite frankly, patented, I always say the most difficult thing to defend of Griner's, having to guard her in the pros, and not me, but my team, is, you know, she turns over that right shoulder, leads with her, you know, arm, like, you know, she turns with her shooting arm and puts that elbow, and she's 6 inches taller, you know, typically than the person defending her. So that elbow goes like right at their nose and you tend to foul her because you can't pull your arms back. So anyway, she took that shot and she missed on Bella. And I think Bella felt pretty good pretty good about that. But no, she was great. Like it was fun to watch her, interact with our posts. I was joking with Johnny, who coaches the post. I said, Griner's got him down here working on triple moves. I just want him to catch a bounce pass on a roll and make a layup when no one's guarding him. So but the joy that it kind of brought, and really timing was so great, because when you're a weekend of practice with no opponent and it's starting to get stale because it's like, it was really good to have her in the gym. And I mean, I know there's some controversy, not in my mind, but I'll tell you one thing. That girl has an amazing heart, an amazing love for Baylor. And for anyone that doesn't understand that, I need people to understand, Brittany Griner loves Baylor. And if the number of times between the retirement ceremony to this weekend that she has said, you have no idea how this means to me, when we're asking her to come back, and that's the sentiment. She loves being a part of this university and this program, and so it's special to have her back. Our players feel it. She's truly a celebrity in the gym, but she doesn't act like it. And so it was awesome.
All right. Well, it's fun to catch up with you. If Kyla or somebody does a dream shake during the game, we'll blame it on Brittany, right? If
we will. I'm
triple move.
I think she just traveled 3 times on that triple move, but
you were watching that pivot foot. It got a little.
So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Nikki.
You got it, Matt. Good to see you.
We'll be watching everything, and we'll talk to you before the Sweet 16. All right.
Sounds good. All right.
You bet. There shows Nikki Collin, Baylor women's basketball coach, and always fun to catch up with her. And it'd been a week or two, so really wanted to cover a lot of ground there, but very, very interesting, and really enjoyed that. Glad we could bring that to you. That is Nikki Collin on the Matt Mosley Show, and that is our show for today.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information. Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium.
With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.